Hello and welcome to the final episode of this season's Kidder Street Noise podcast, and we will be running through the end of season review and awards. Before we get into that, obviously it's been 2 weeks now since the last game of the season.
Yeah, it will be tomorrow, won't it?
How you feeling on the season as a whole now that guaranteed another season of championship, and to wind down over the summer that we've done a lot of, I think.
Just glad that it's over, really. I don't think anyone, in the initial feeling, I imagine it would have been for like most people, was relief. So I don't think anyone imagined it being that close. Like every other team in our situation, every other team at the bottom winning. So yeah, I was very, very relieved when we won.
Yeah, I think there was a very scary moment just after half time when Birmingham went 1-0 up, and it was like, if Leicester score, we're down here. And
yeah,
I think I had a feeling that Sheff Wednesday were going to win. I had a feeling that Plymouth were going to win. I just didn't think Birmingham were going to win. But then when they went 1-0 up, but then it started, even before we scored, it started like people behind us saying, "Oh, Birmingham are drawing, it's 1-1." But then like no signal in the ground, and you're looking at your phone like, are you sure? But it's a horrible feeling. I'm glad after Smollett scored the first, I felt a bit more comfortable because I didn't think they'd do enough to get 2 goals. I mean, I think if Leicester would have needed a win, I think they'd have got it. It almost had like a pre-season friendly feel to the game. But we'll have another episode after this, just talking about Leicester away, I think. And then the reaction and follow on from Leicester away without giving too many spoilers away. So, awards ceremony. How many awards have we got? Well, I'll say awards. Some of them you don't want to win. 3, 6, 11. 11 awards to give away tonight. The first one, I think we're both going to be very obvious on this one. Player of the season. So, Lewis, I'll go to you first. Who is your Blackburn Rovers Kidder Street Noise player of the season?
Can only be one man, really, can't it? It has to be Smollett. I've said it a few times now. I said it on the last day of the season. Like, we would have been down weeks ago if it wasn't for him. His goals have been invaluable. He looked like he was really starting to settle in at Rovers like during the second half of last season, and I think over the summer, I remember saying like, I fancy him to like step up now that Diaz has gone, maybe get into like double figures. But I was expecting like the goals to, with the potential signing of a striker last summer. I was expecting the goals to come from a few different sources this season, but he's just blown all those expectations out the water.
Yeah, I think we'd have been happy with 15 goals and assists. I think if you're counting goal contributions, I think a good season for a player in his positions, like 15 to 20, that's a good season. So to have like 33 just goals, I don't know how many assists he got, but just going off his goals alone is enough to win him the award. His attitude, his work rate, it isn't just the goal. I think I criticised him against Sheff Wednesday, where it was like 2 goals.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's not the motivator, but I think just his body language and the way he holds himself on the pitch is a motivation to the rest of the players.
Leads by example, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. He will need replacing. You mentioned there that you thought the goal was going to get shared round. I don't even know who the second top goal scorer was. Was it Leonard? Did Leonard have 4 league goals?
Yeah, might have been, yeah.
Who else would have got close to that? Costello. Costello must have got a few.
Yeah, I know that Gally got 3. So that feels like all we've been talking about, when it's come to like discussing his potential renewal.
Yeah. I think Dolan must have got 6 or 7 with a 2 against Stoke, and they get a couple against QPR. So yeah, he'll have been up. But like, if you take Swanich out of the team, like you said, we would have scored like 20 to 30. Would have been rubbish. And
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, do you? Take him out and put someone else in, they might have got the goals, but I don't think any of the players we got in the squads or would have got anywhere close to his goal contributions just playing his position without Swanich. I just think it would have been a pretty drab, miserable, dark season. He's been the one shining light, and he is both of our player of the seasons, but I think that's probably the most obvious award of the night. I don't think he'll win it next year. Do you think he'll be? Do you think it's a summer move pending? Do you think he'll stay till January? Do you think he'll stay for the whole season? Where do you see his future line after this season?
I think it's a summer move. Most likely be Leicester, and that's that's being thrown around a lot at the minute. How much money are you looking at for him, considering his age?
It's a difficult one because I think the whole deal has to be right. I think if you got 10, like, so for like a team like Leicester or like a team like the bottom half of the Prem, I think, or like a newly promoted team, I think 10 million plus 5 million if they stay up would be a good deal. I can't see us a team giving us £15 million cash for him. I just think that add-ons have to be right, whether that be a bonus on staying up, a bonus on goals scored per appearance. Sell-on fees not really a negotiable thing, because if he goes for 10, 15 million, are you ever going to get profit on that at 29 years old? If he signs a 3-year deal, he's going to be 32. He's never going for more than 10 million after that. Like, he'd have to have like a storming season in the Prem.
Yeah.
But even then, like, the teams in the Prem, they're not forced to sell like we are. So he does have a storming season. Like, they're already talking about, I know we're not talking Blackburn Rovers now, but where people are saying 60 million for Adam Wharton in the summer, and Crystal Palace are already saying no, we won't accept bids of that. So, I mean, Rovers found it hard to turn down 20 million. So, and a club in a league above is like willing to turn down 60, like it's like short change. So, I think even if he goes somewhere else and has a really good season, I don't think you're really going to get much profit on it. I think it has to be like a bonus related situation. Everton I've seen links with, kind of makes sense, like the Still Ryan connection. Like, these things don't just come about by chance. There might have been something in the background, but can't really blame him. I think once he got to the 15 goal mark, he would have heard rumours, and I think you almost have to like arrange that sort of stuff yourself, because I mean, if you're going off Blackburn Rovers trying to arrange transfer deals for you, you're not going to go anywhere really, are you? So I don't blame him, but I just hope wherever he goes, he gets like an opportunity like Adam Wharton has. Like, I just don't want him going and playing like 10 games a season or coming off the bench 15 times a season. I want him to go and be the main man like he has been here. I think if he goes to Everton, he could be the main striker, because the goal threats are non-existent at the minute. What about you?
I think I'd be happy with 15 million. I think it is tempting to kind of like get a bit carried away and think, I scored all these goals, should be looking at like, 20 million. So, and you look at like precedents in the past where strikers have scored a similar amount of goals in the Championship and gone for even more than that. But you have got to consider his age, and like you say, if he's given say like a 3-4 year deal, by that time he's going to be 31, 32, and he'll definitely be like sort of coming towards the end. And no club is really going to make a profit on that. I don't think, unless, like you say, it takes like a duck to water to the Prem, and really kicks on. But yeah, 15 million.
Yeah,
I'd be happy with 15 million.
Yeah. Yeah. first award done, player of the season out the way for Sammy Smodic. Next up, we've got goal of the season. I don't really think there's that many candidates for me. I think there's probably one or two. Maybe.
Yeah, there's not that many that stick out. And I know that Hedges won the official award for his goal away at Watford. I was there that day, and it was, it was a nice goal, really. Showed a lot of skill and composure, but I think that was obviously like before the final day. I think at this point, I think you've got to give another award to Smodic for his first at Leicester. An absolutely magnificent solo goal, and without it, we've already touched on it. Maybe we don't stay in the Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hell of a finish. Where we were stood exactly in the same place we went to Leicester in the FA Cup, like that corner. It felt like it took him ages to run through on goal and then get to a position where he could shoot, and then it felt like it took even longer for the ball to go past the keeper and go in. But yeah, hell of a goal. Not what I've chosen, but I can understand why you've gone with that one. It was such a
perfect finish as well when he got there.
Yeah. It's like, I think almost like that angle, you'd expect the keeper to have most of the net covered, but I don't think the keeper were close to it, and it's right inside the post. Like, it's literally perfect place, and like you couldn't have picked the ball up and walked it in yourself as perfect as he did. So, especially after running 50, 60 yards in that heat, I think it's like the first solo goal where someone run over 50 yards and scored for donkey's years. I saw a statistic on Twitter, and then I commented on it saying, I remember Jason Roberts scoring one at Bolton away where he ran from inside his own half, but he mentioned that the defender got a touch on it, but I think that's harsh on Jason Roberts. I thought like that goal at Bolton that night, that probably, I wouldn't say a bigger moment because it didn't keep us up or do anything for us, but at the time that felt like a massive goal. And the run, it took a nick on the defender on the way through, but still, you got to give it. I mean, more if he took Jason Roberts' goals away from him every time he touched a defender or a goalkeeper, he probably only scored about 3 in his career. I went for Hedges at Watford for my goal. I've just picked like technical excellence for. It's just that little dink over. I think, is it Porteous or is it the other centre back he's done?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that little touch, and then had to have the composure, like touch it up again, and then it's like the sweetest strike you'll see off his right foot, his weaker foot. It's like one of them where it doesn't feel like it's hit your foot, it just flies past the keeper. It's just beautiful. I'm gonna practice that on Sunday. But yeah, I don't think I'll get the chance to score on Sunday. But right, goal of the season done. Next is moment of the season.
Now, I'm going to go for, I know a few people have tempted to go for Leeds away because of how much that meant and how unlikely a win looked going into that. But I'm going to go for a Smollett's equaliser against Newcastle. It just felt great to be like, in such a disappointing season, really, an underwhelming season. It felt great to be going toes to toe with a Prem team, and it was like one of those all too rare kind of like special occasions that he would, from a big crowd as well. And like from that moment, it felt like it could possibly like go on and go through, and we were like unlucky not to, really. So that's why I went for that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't really think of that. I've been like looking at all the. It's weird because even though the cup runs this season weren't as good as the ones last season getting to the quarter final, but we had some big moments in the cup this year. I've not really I think because the league was so disappointing, it's almost like cancelled it out.
Yeah.
Like last year, the league was good, and the cups were like a bonus. Like you have fonder memories of the cup that year because obviously you didn't have the worry or the panic in the background of what might potentially happen in the league. I went for Smodic's goal at home to Borough during the minutes applause for Matt.
Oh, yeah.
I just felt in such like a disappointing season that's like the one moment that a lot of fans, the fans that were there especially, will remember like a long, long time. Like I know we'll remember winning at Leeds away to keep us up, but we'll probably play Leeds again and have similar games with Leeds. Even like staying up at Leicester on the last game of the season, we'll probably have days where we stay up on the last day of the season or secure survival or fight relegation last game of the season again. But I just think that moment during a minute's applause for like a proper Rovers fan who bled blue and white, I just think it was just a special moment, and it's something that, regardless of how bad the season was, that moment will live on forever. And I think, especially during a season where we've had not a lack of connection, but almost like it is a lack of connection, but a rift between the fans and the club. I think how like the whole club came together to pay the respects, but then also that moment on top of it just felt like a fitting tribute. I mean, we've spoken about the Hedges goal at Watford. Obviously, the Travis taking over the wreath for his family, for his sister in the away end and stuff. That goal was an amazing moment. Smodic 2. Has he got 3 awards for you? No. Yeah. Has he got 3 awards for you?
Yeah. But can you give I suppose Smodic scored the goal, but can you give the moment to Smodic?
On goal, Newcastle defender. Kidder Street now his trophy to Newcastle defender's house. Put this on your mantelpiece, lad.
It's everything involved in
it. Yeah. Best game of the season.
Best game, I've gone for Sunderland away. Obviously it's like very rare for us to score 5 away from home. Only happened, I think, twice in the last. I know we scored 5 at Sheffield Wednesday, didn't we? And that was 2020, I think. So twice in the last 5 years, and then the last one before that was 90 something, so 96 maybe. So. Bristol City, and then it was score 5 at Bristol City, that 5-3.
I was there that day.
Before that, it was like, the last one was like 1996. So, and then just with the run we've been on, going into that, it was just so unexpected. A massive win for us at the time. It was also like the last time that I got to see us play this season. So for me, it was like a good way to round off like a poor season, really.
Yeah, I can understand that, definitely. I mean, it is a good game. I think the level of opposition, almost, because obviously they weren't really struggling, were they? They were more like not interested, would you say?
Yeah, I think that's
come into context.
Yeah, but I think you've got to like pick it like personally. It was just like a day that I kind of really enjoyed, so so I've gone for
it. Fair enough. I've gone for the QPR away, the 4-0 win away from home. I'm trying to find where we were in the table after that day.
It was ages gone on, didn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a different season.
Yeah.
So Norwich 3-1, was that before or after it?
It was right before international break, wasn't it? QPR, I think.
It's one we've had loads this year.
October time, I want to say. October, November.
I feel like it was before the Coventry defeat. I should have probably prepared this before the podcast, but we moved. Was it before the Leicester game? We got beat 4-1. Surely it must have been after that.
Was it not during that run of like we won 3 away games on the bounce, didn't we? Beat Stoke as well, and then everything turned sour.
Well, I've just seen the Birmingham game, so it can't have been that, because that was like the start of a really bad run. But yeah,
Excuse me.
I mean, we don't need to find it. It's not that important. But it just felt at that time that, because I know we'd had a tricky start to the season and we weren't doing as well as last season. We'd obviously just been spanked off Leicester as well. But that day felt like, because I think a lot of the games before that, we'd created a lot of chances. Were it not after? So we've got beat off Sunderland at home 3-1, and we missed about 5 sitters in the first 10 minutes where we could have been 3-0 up after 5 minutes. And then we ended up going on to get beaten. It was almost like are we ever gonna like put something past people? Like, are we ever gonna score, or are we ever gonna smash a team because we're creating all these chances? And then obviously the QPR game went and put 4 past them. It almost felt like, right, we'll kick on from here. Everything's working. Like, people got a bit of confidence, and I almost felt like that was going to be our moment to kick us on and take us back to the heights of the season before and beyond. But obviously, it didn't work out that way. But I think just the feeling after that game of, yeah, everything has worked and we're going to be all right, or we're going to improve and carry on from here.
Yeah,
I don't think I've felt like that for a long time. Not since pre-Christmas, I don't think.
not since then.
Yeah. Worst game of the season.
Bristol City away. Just awful. As little as we can talk about this, the better. Just I think it made it worse because we were the architects of our own downfall. Every goal
was easily avoidable.
Yeah. And it was at a point where we weren't picking up many points, and it felt like games were running out. And you're looking at games like Leeds away and Leicester away. Obviously, we ended up winning both of those. But two big shocks, two upsets. And yeah, I must admit, I was very worried after that game that we'd be going down. I think most people would have been.
Yeah, I think most people's attitude that night was, we are in for relegation here. I think it's a hard defeat to come back from. I mean, no defeat's easy to come back from, but to go and hold 5 away from home and where potentially 4 of the goals are your own fault, I think that makes it even worse. If you go get, I was talking to Damon today about last night's game, Leeds and Norwich, and I said obviously I think Daniel Farker's being sacked by, not Daniel Farker, the other one, Wagner's being sacked by Norwich because of that. But I don't think Norwich played bad. I don't think they were that bad. I thought Leeds were just really, really good, and said 3-0 at half time, and it could have been 8-0. But I bet they've gone into the change room and gone, I don't really know what to do here. I can't stop these lads. We're not really making mistakes and doing anything wrong, but they're just better than us. But even though we got beat 5-0 by Bristol City, I don't think we'd have come in and said, bloody hell, them lads are good. Bloody hell, they're way better than us. We'd have probably just, on the way home, gone, what the hell were we doing there?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the worst bit about that. I picked Wednesday at home just because of the sold-out Darwin and celebrating the mistakes we made. The mistakes we made against Wednesday were probably worse than the ones at Bristol City. And especially such a crucial game at home. And
when I win, guaranteed safety.
Yeah, exactly. 3 points are guaranteed your safety. It would have given the players the week off till Thursday. And maybe the players just wanted to come into Brockhall. It might have just been that and just kick it back your own net. Great, lad. See you Tuesday. But yeah, Wednesday at home, that was I think it was walking out the ground and walking back through. Well, as obviously I come out the Blackburn end and walk back round towards the Darwin and the main road, I could hear them celebrating with the manager, and then walking back down Branch Road, they were obviously absolutely buzzing. And I was just this is absolutely awful. It felt remember last year when Coventry drew with us?
Yeah, the handball.
And we almost knew that we weren't getting playoffs now, but they had a chance, and I had to walk back through them afterwards, and they were singing Ben Wilson in goal and stuff. I was just you know what? I mean, I remember one of them, that as one of the best games ever. I'm like, a 1-1 draw at Ewood, are you sure? They're like, yeah, honestly, mate, what a night. We're like, bloody hell, I'd hate to see you if we won. Pants right ankles down Branch Road sprinting. Yeah, Wednesday at home, worst game, definitely. Individual awards now. Best newcomer.
I think there's only one option.
A bit like player of the season, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, the player of the season, yeah. Tronstad.
Yeah.
As
well.
Like the look of him from the off. Impressed in the friendly against Girona that I covered for the LT. I think that might be his first appearance.
Did he not do the Aki Stanley 60 minute as well?
Playing that one. I didn't go to that one. I was at the cricket that day, but he never seems to have like a memorably bad game. You know, he's just like pretty consistent, just solid. Works really hard for the team, and it's like one of those that's like, you know, it's pretty cliche, but 7 out of 10 every week.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked him for best newcomer.
Yeah, I mean, the signings haven't been great this summer, let's be honest. But he has been one of the better signings, like the shining light, because he's improved us, I think, in the midfield area. And I'm actually not excited to see what he can do next year, but I think if you've got a creative midfielder, or even if you just got, depending on what shape that Eustace wants to play next season, and if you got Travis in next to him, more creative people in front of him, I think he'd be better off. But I can only see him getting better. I can't see him like, this isn't like a one-off season where I think, yeah, he's been done really well this season, but next season has to keep it up. It is more like he's all right. He's like the one, like one of a few people in our team that I think, yeah, we don't need to strengthen there because we've got him.
Build him into a team.
Yeah. So Sondre Tronstad gets the newcomer of the year. Who was your worst signing?
It's a tough one, this, because
they're all shit.
No. It depends on what. I was speaking to Jack about this earlier, and he went for. I was saying to him that this can only be said in hindsight, really, because of how happy people were with it at the time. He went for Black. You know, because like he only played 16 minutes and he was picking up like a rumoured 20 grand a week. You know, but like I say, you can only say that in hindsight, because when that was announced late on deadline day, people were saying, "Oh yeah, it's just what we need, a bit of experience in midfield, you know, an old head in there." But to me, I'm struggling to pick between Talalovic and Moran.
Oh, surprising.
Who have you gone for?
No, I want to hear your reasons first. Why Talalovic? Because, I mean, I don't think his wages would be high. I don't think we paid a fee for him, did we? It must have been a small fee. It won't have been a lot, will it? And he hasn't really been given a chance to show what he can do.
He hasn't, but he has made quite a few appearances off the bench. And for what we needed when he came in, what we needed from a striker that we were bringing in, he's just not been that at all. You know,
I honestly think if he'd have scored the goal at Birmingham away, he'd have gone on and got like 5-10 goals.
Yeah, that's one that sticks out in my mind. That's
because I thought he was playing quite well at that point. Like, he was like getting about a bit. I just think if he puts that in at back post last minute, gives everyone a boost, he probably starts the next game. And I just think his Rovers' career goes on a completely different path. But ever since then, I don't think we've seen him since then.
Yeah.
Who else do you say? Moran.
You know, his biggest fan. It feels a bit harsh picking on a young lad on loan from the Prem, and it's not that he's not been like poor every week, but he's just like not really I don't really feel like he's offered that much when he has played.
I think he started the season quite good. I think he did he get like 6 goals and 4 assists like quite early on. I think there was a bit where he deserved to come out of the team and JDT wouldn't change it, like wouldn't give someone else a chance, and it was almost like, is he only playing him because he's got a loan agreement, a bit like the Morton situation we had last year. I think that was my frustration with him, that it got to a point where he needed to come out of the team and he wasn't. I'm happy for him to give him a chance at the start, but if it's obviously not working, you want to change it. And I think Eustace came in and changed it straight away, realised that he needed a rest, and he just hasn't got back up to speed since then. Now, I always said that you get 5 loan signing spots. They need to, in the Championship, you need to go to the Prem and get 5 players that are going to improve you in every position. Like they're going to, like, I'm thinking of other players in the league. So, like, I mean, Hull, I know they finished 7th and probably disappointing season for the players they had, but Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool. I look at Carl Rushworth, who's at Swansea from Brighton. It was unbelievable at Ewood when we played him. Like, distribution, the shot stopping, coming out for catches, like the complete opposite of the goalkeepers we've got. But especially with I think like the relationship we got with Brighton, you'd think like we'd be first to pick up their players like that, and we were desperate for a goalkeeper, so why not go out and get him? Trying to think of other good loan signings I've seen this season at Championship. I mean, who else have Hull had? Should they had Anas Zarori, didn't they, that Burnley had last season?
Yeah.
They've also got Scott Twine from Burnley. I mean, I'm not going out and saying sign all the Burnley's players that got promoted, but like they're the level of player that they need to be better than what you've already got. Otherwise, what's the point? So for that reason, my worst signing is Billy Cometio. Played 13 minutes against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Just like when we signed him, I was like, what is this? Because he'd played 5 games in League 2 in France. Like, it wasn't like he'd set the world alight. I felt like we already had enough centre backs, so he wasn't going to come in and knock Hyam, Wharton, or Carter out of the team. And it just, everything about it felt wrong. And then on the signing reveal on Twitter, they had wanted posters of Billy the Kid, and we've not seen him since we signed him. And I said this in a conversation I had this week. There'll be a video about it coming soon. But I said it sometimes feels like the club's taking the piss out of the fans a little bit. We've signed this lad. We're going to make wanted posters of him, and then we're never going to play him. It's almost like, I don't know, just felt like a...
Yeah, I did consider Cometio, I must admit, but I feel like from what we saw in that Newcastle game, we possibly could have seen more of him. You know, I don't think he played badly when he came. It was a tough game to come into that night, and yeah, it is a bit of a strange one why he didn't play more.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he played well that night, and I thought he could have played more. But has the law move benefited any of us? Will he have learned anything from Hyam scoring 3 own goals and setting up goals for Bristol City for fun? And like, I don't think it will have improved him as a player working under. I mean, he would have came in just before JDT left. Used a bit more defensive. I don't know.
Is that how bad the sign is, or is it the squad selection? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it isn't a reflection on him as a player, because
no,
it is just the, like, if you get a not even a 10 goal, if you get a 5 goal striker on loan in January, that can change your season towards the end of, like, change a few results from draws to wins or losses to draws. But to get a centre back who's only going to play 20 minutes in the cup, that's just, well, what's the point? So yeah, sorry Billy, but you've won my worst sign of the season anyway. Who are you looking forward to? Oh, go on, say again.
Chalk it'll be in the post.
Yeah, I'll send it through. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most next season?
Gil Seven.
Think he'll get a chance?
I think he deserves one. To be honest, I've been wondering why he's not been getting any minutes for weeks. When you're performing that well for the for the 23, I don't get it really.
How many senior appearances has he made?
Made a handful. He's not made many. So I'm going to say in the league 2 or 3 this season.
Because someone mentioned that it could be to do with senior appearances on his contract. Like, right. For so many senior appearances he gets.
Made 2 appearances in the league this season.
And he would have played against Harrogate and who do we play at home and Ennis scored against? And Gilson scored against. Was it, I want to say Crew, but that we weren't that.
Did we play in League Cup?
Who was the home game against?
It feels like ages ago now, doesn't it?
Oh, we were sat in Blackburn and just us two.
It was. Walsall.
I knew it was a team in red. I remember Poundland sponsored on chest. That's why I thought it was Crew. So he's got 4 senior appearances then, unless I don't think he played against Wrexham, did he? He won't have played against Newcastle, so maybe there's like 5 senior appearances, he gets a boost in his contract, maybe. That is honestly the only thing I can think of, and I know it's like conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat time, but that is honestly the only reason I can think of why he's not been. Because there's been some weeks he's not even been in the squad, and our bench has looked awful. So crazy. I went for Lewis Travis. Looking forward to seeing him in a new system. I think the break will have helped him. I don't think it suited him under JDT. We've learned obviously from Smodic this season, no days off, and like in everyday training. Don't know how close he lives to Ewood, but obviously his partner does quite a lot of modelling and they're out and about everywhere. That might be something to do with it. I don't think, like, obviously moving down to Ipswich, closer to London, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'd like to see him come back, like a fresh start, let's go again, be captain again maybe. But I'm looking forward to seeing him next season in a different structure. Do you disagree?
No.
Are you welcoming him back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it should be. I don't think there should be any like sort of hostility or like frostiness or anything like that towards him, because he just disagreement with JDT. There's no like kind of beating around the bush. He wasn't happy at Rovers at that time. I think it should be seen as like a clean slate and go from there. But there's there's no doubting that he's probably the best we've got alongside Tronstad in that position, really. So, yeah, him and Gilson are 2 that I want to see next season. Yeah.
Who deserves more game time?
I'll let you go first for this one, because I don't really give this one too much. Because I don't want to say like Gilson again, because I kind of like rolled the 2 into 1 when I was.
Yeah, when you went for who you look forward to. I went Jake Batty.
Okay.
Just because if we're sticking with the 5 at the back, I feel like Pickering, we've already spoke about Pickering not being a wing back, his goal action contributions worse than Ipswich's goalkeeper, so he's not going to be the attacking wing back we're wanting to be. I think Batty could be that. think Pickering is still quite young in it, but you need a good understudy or a good like second choice in that position, especially if you're going to play 52 games minimum over a season. That's we do well in cups, but like you're going to play 50 games like your minimum. Pickering has picked up injuries in the past and we've been forced to play Britton at right back, like Scott Wharton at left back, or just move people about. Like earlier in the season, we had Britton at left back, Travis at right back, just a mess. And when we've got such like a good academy and such a good like production line of young players coming through, I think like stick them in and let's see how they get on. And I think it's one of the positions we're quite weak in if Krushenny doesn't come back. So yeah, I like to see him get more game time, not just for himself, but for the benefit of the team as well. He's sticking with Gilsonen.
Yeah, I think so, but I like that argument for Batty. Yeah.
Okay, last two awards now. First up, someone that we definitely must keep.
A few ideas for this one.
Smollich.
Yeah, ideal world, but I think you've got to be realistic. To me, for the sake of not really giving Transfer another award, either Carter or Rankin Costello. I think Carter until he picked up that injury, he's really starting to look solid now. He looks secure starting for Rovers kind of most weeks, and just another one that you can kind of look to build into a team like more long term. Looking ahead to the future, and then JRC, versatile. Works hard for the team. Always seems to offer something when he does play. He's a really good player, I think, all around, and I think there'll be more. I'll be surprised if there isn't some interest in him this summer.
Yeah, it's quite surprising you don't hear that much about interest around JRC compared to other players. You'd think more clubs would be interested in him, just with how crucial he is to us and how many positions he can play and play well. I also went for Carter. He's massively important. He is like the future at centre back, and someone that no matter who was alongside him, I'd trust him to guide through and cover them. Obviously, quick, good in the air, good on the ball. I think having like a more direct style of play will help him more. He's not being forced to be on the ball as much. But I think if we go direct and press high, like hold a high line to keep them penned in, I think he's got the pace to cover around the back as well. So I think it suits Carter massively. So yeah, he's really important. It can't be a season of Hyam and McFadden. It has to be Carter and someone else for me.
Yeah.
Like a left-sided centre-back. Obviously, we're not going to have Scott Wharton next season. I think we had to go out and actually buy a left-sided centre-back.
Future captain in Carter?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you don't really know what they're like, do you, behind the scenes? You don't know how, like, is he a captain or is he just more of a... Because he seems quite quiet. There are some like interviews and like the backstage videos and stuff like that. He is more on the quiet side. I don't know how loud of a personality he is, but I wouldn't have any qualms about him being captain. But yeah, it's just one of them for me. He just seems it's almost like too baby-faced to be a captain. Someone, the last award for the Kidder Street Noise 2023-24 awards is ending on a sad note, obviously. someone that we must say goodbye to.
Galley.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. Gallagher was my pick as well.
yeah. I think in a season like this, only 3 goals is. I think he'd probably say the same. That's just nowhere near good enough. I hope he's disappointed with that because he thinks that's if thinks that is acceptable, then that's like disappointing. Um, yeah, the money that he'd be on. I think I saw some statistics. I think last week, just before a couple of weeks ago, just before the last game of the season, that he is, I think, the second worst number 9 in the league.
Jordan Hugill.
Yeah, for in terms of like his return. So yeah, Gally.
Yeah, I think it's better for everyone if there's a fresh start elsewhere. I mean,
Yeah,
I almost think the 5 years that we had under Mowbray with Gallagher playing on the wing and being moved about almost didn't help him because it was like, well, it's kept him at Rovers because it was like, well, he's been played on wing. That's not his position. He's not a winger. He's not a winger. And everyone kept saying that. And obviously, when JDT came in, we thought, oh my God, like, world-class striker, pass on his knowledge, he'll play him up front. I remember like the first video of it when he came in and he was like, striker to Sam Gallagher.
yeah.
And everyone was like, oh my God, he's going to play him centre forward. He's going to learn all his movement and he's going to be class.
He's going to score 25 goals this season.
Yeah. So to play under, well, including Coyle, he's played under 4 different managers, like 4 different styles of play. And the majority of them stuck him out on the wing. No one's really stuck with him as centre forward apart from Coyle, really. And that was his best season for Rovers, really. But the fact that it's still not working for him even now after all these changes, and it's not like you can, like I said, under Mowbray, the 5 years, it was almost like, yeah, well, it's not suited to him, is it? Not suited to him. He's always out on wing and stuff. And I just think now it's like tiring, that argument now. It's just time for everyone to move on and him hopefully find somewhere else in the summer. And then come back to Ewood and bag an hat-trick, guaranteed. So yeah, that is the 23-24 season awards done. Let's revisit it in 12 months' time when which 15-year-old won player at season and which freebie's the best signing. What other things have happened since the end of the season? Smodic's interview on Too Taffy Football. Have you watched it?
I haven't had a chance yet, no.
We've not been listening to it in van.
Oh, I've been...
Been what? We listen to tunes, mate. We listen to tunes. So he mentioned that like he wants to stay at Rovers, but if an opportunity came to the Premier League came about, he would have to take a look at it. And he did mention that I don't think anyone would begrudge him a move if that was to happen, which I think most sensible Rovers fans would agree that if he does get a move to the Premier League or another club abroad, he'd be daft not to take it. Some interesting quotes on the differences between JDT and John Eustace. He said JDT is a tactical genius, that he improved him massively. But he was very strict. His man management was poor. I think the 7 days a week training thing it's a mad thing to complain about with some players. I think the ambitious players, the players that want to improve, will love it, like Smodic, like Adam Wharton, like the rest of the players that JDT improved under his time here. But I think it was pretty clear the players that didn't enjoy it, obviously Dak fell out with him and left, Diaz left, Buckley fell out with him and left. I mean, they love the fishing, don't they? But I think if you're going to get to the top level in football, I reckon if you looked at all 20 Premier League clubs, I bet there's less than 3 that have days off.
Yeah,
maybe,
very won't they?
I mean, it looks like Man United have had days off a week, but
they train at this point.
yeah. But City will train 7 days a week. like Liverpool train 7 days a week. Like, and they might get the odd day off here and there, but like the basis will be that you're in training all the time. And I can understand it might be difficult for lads that live further away that are travelling an hour's there and back, but if you know that's going to be the case, like just move closer or like be part of the area, be part of the community. I know Blackburn's might not be the nicest place to live, but like if you're going to make it work and try to make a better career for yourself, surely you'd take that hit and get a 2-bed terrace on Aldi Range and get yourself down to Brockles. Like he mentioned about when John Eustace came in, he said you'll get Sundays and Wednesdays off, I think he said. And it gave all the players a lift straight away, and that helped us beat Stoke in the first game. But then he also said if you win against Sheffield Wednesday, you're off till Thursday. And obviously we know what happened against Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, there's a lot of talk about like footballers earning a lot of money, and they say, well, it is only a short career. If you're desperate for days off and like you're only winning games because you get a couple of days off, I just think like surely you'd want to work every day to get better to eventually move on or just improve. And I think a lot of our players and a lot of players that have come through at Rovers have just got that weak mentality where like that'll do. And I'm sure we'll speak about it in the next video when we talk about the goings on last couple of weeks. But I feel like the club has that sort of mentality. We spoke about it a lot of time before, like that'll do or it'll be all right. And no one's willing to go the extra mile or the extra yards to either improve themselves or improve as a club as a whole. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a Sonic interview. Watch it on YouTube. It is a good listen. I mean, he doesn't really get many words. He does talk a lot. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, but the woman presenting it and Sam Allardyce do a lot of the talking. It doesn't really get much of a say. Sam Allardyce says some random stuff. You just like, I don't know if he's all right, to be honest, Big Sam. Honestly, I don't know if the pints of wine are still flowing, but he's not. He's not sounding great. I'm not gonna lie. There's also the Paul Lambert interview under the Kosh. Have you listened to that?
No, that came out the other day, didn't it? And he didn't. When I saw it, like when like Under the Kosh tweeted about it, I was wondering that what he would kind of like reveal about his time at Rovers, and then you told me the other day that he completely kind of skipped over it, and there was only like one kind of like story about Chris Brown being on gas and air for a broken finger or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Like they started the podcast, and obviously they said like, "Oh, what was Chris Brown like for you?" And they were like, "Well, got into training one day, had a dislocated finger, and the doctor had him on gas and air." And I turned around to my assistant and said, "We need to get the contracts. We need to get out of here," kind of thing. That as a joke. And I thought like, "Oh well, like, that's just an intro. Like I'm sure when they get around to his career and stuff, he'll talk about the rest, like the reason why he left and the reason why he decided to walk away." Right. And then it got to like his management career. And when he was talking about Villa, it was like proper in depth. He said, who were it they wanted to sign? They wanted to sign a striker. It was before they signed Benteke. And he came into his office and was like, I want to sign this guy. Into like the Villa's office at the time. Was it Randy Lerner back then? The dodgy American. And he said, we can't afford that. Like, come back in the summer or whatever.
Yeah.
So Lambert's gone away, spoke to the guy's agent and said, we can't afford the transfer at the minute. Ask the club if they'll do a loan with an optional future fee. We'll be able to afford it then. So, like, goes with his agent and the players' club. I can't remember what strike it were, but it would have been a good one for Villa. They go away, comes back, takes it up to the boardroom and says, I've sorted it. It's a loan move. There's nothing to pay now. Next summer we're paying $5 million, whatever it is. And the chairman just went, we can't afford it. And Lambert was like, right, something's going wrong here. And it was the season that they basically had to sell everyone. We're just playing kids. And I think I don't know whether they went down that season or eventually stayed up, but he obviously got the record for playing the youngest ever Premier League team. So I thought, oh well, he's willing to speak about Villa's dodgy owners. Like, I'm sure he's going to reveal loads about Rovers and like what went wrong there. Anyways, and they just went. And you managed Stoke for 11 games at the end of the season. What was that like? 'Cause they weren't your. And I was just like, no, he came to us after Villa. I'm looking on Wikipedia whilst I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, Villa, Blackburn, then Stoke. I just missed it. So I'm like rewinding it. Straight from Villa. No mention of Blackburn Rovers. It was straight onto Stoke. So, I mean, we've always asked the question whether people that leave Rovers are signing NDAs not to speak about the club or how it's run. I mean, for me, it just sums it up that they very clearly are, because has any former player, manager, staff member come out and said anything about the goings on over the last? I think Bradley Orr was the last one to do it, and he got absolutely slated by Rovers fans when he did like the pointing at the honesty and integrity sign and laughing and stuff. And I don't know how that worked out for him, but a lot of there just must be the best non-disclosure agreements of all time, because they're just absolutely terrified of saying a word against them. So if you're thinking about watching a Paul Lambert interview, thinking that he's going to reveal stuff about Blackburn Rovers, don't bother. Or watch the first minute and a half where he talks about Chris Brown, and then skip the rest, because he doesn't mention anything about his time managing Rovers, which was an hour and 25 minutes into watching it. I was fuming to learn about. What do you think about some of the Eustace quotes we've heard over the summer?
So he said that we don't need like a massive kind of overhaul in terms of playing personnel, didn't he? Or something along those lines. It doesn't need to be. We don't need to be strengthened that much. Basically, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
It's just not what you want to hear, because it's kind of like lowering expectations for the transfer window, really, and you just worry that even though we've sold Adam Water in January, and even though we'll probably sell Smodics, that none of that money will kind of be spent, and it'll be, it'll be probably freezing loans again. And
if it was going to be freezing loans, like there's better ways to word. I mean, I've criticised him for being a yes man and like sitting on the fence. He could have come out and said, "Oh, we'll have to look into like the finances, see what we can do." But to say the squad doesn't need strengthened, like, come on. Like, people can see through that. Like, we finished 3 points above safety. We're the league's top goal scorer. Like, that squad needs strengthened. Everyone knows that. You can come out and say, well, we'll have to see who's available. Like, we'll have to look into the loan market and try and get some young players. We won't know until after the European Championships who's available. Like, if people have a good European Championships, they might get more money, or they might become more valuable. All our targets, price ranges might change, that sort of stuff. That's the thing that people would be happy hearing, because at least you've got a plan then. But to come out and say we don't need strengthening, it's just like, well, yeah, we do. Like, what are you watching? Like, what are you seeing that we're not? So that I mentioned it the other day. Like, the club's communication just feels so disingenuous at the minute, because everyone can see the problems, but it's like no one's talking about it. It's like there's a massive building behind you on fire, and everyone's just like, yeah, nothing to see here, nothing's going on. But
then every now and again, something that feels a bit more genuine and a bit more honest will kind of like, creak through. If you creak through, it seep through the crack. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
creak through the saps.
Yeah. Like, for example, the Carter interview before Valday at Leicester, saying like, the season's been nowhere near good enough, and we want to be a lot higher at the table, and so it just feels like conflicting messaging, basically. It's like, well, yeah, what is the actual, where are we going, sort of thing.
Yeah. and I think the conflicting messages are the most frustrating ones. I've got my notes here that he came out and said it's not fair that these young players are being asked to play so many games without experienced players to help them through it. And this was like 2 weeks after he'd said he'd come in and changed the mentality from victims to fighters. Well, if you're not victims anymore, why are you complaining that things aren't fair? Like, he's almost like contradicting himself. But then I just think, why are the people interviewing him, or why are the people who are getting these quotes aren't saying, well, you said you changed from victim's mentality, so why are you having the mentality now that it's not fair? So yeah, it's just, I mean, I've completely come off social media. I was getting so much, I was getting really like frustrated, just reading crap from not only like the club's communications, but fans like lapping it up, and fans like, it's almost, it does become like a false positivity. Like, it's almost like telling yourself that
it's like burying your head in the sand, isn't it?
Yeah, are you an ostrich? That sort of thing. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I was hoping that we were going to speak about season tickets and like looking ahead to next season, but we won't know anything about that just yet, unfortunately. So yeah, have you anything else to add before we wrap up our end of season awards?
I don't think so.
Still got lots to talk about, but can't talk about it just yet. When we can talk about it, we will. And there'll be another video discussing all the things that have gone on. So stay tuned. I might actually do a live stream Q&A and people can ask the questions, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions after it or during it. I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. What do you think?
Yeah. Could do, yeah.
So we will be back next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And then over the summer, I mean, there'll be Guide Villa videos coming out. Not really much anything else, will there? Let's just take the summer off and chill out and hope for that we start August. Maybe I could do some European Championship stuff, but
yeah,
depends how Scotland get on.
Yeah, hopefully things are looking a lot rosier by the time August comes around.
Yeah, we'll all bought a £250 season tickets and we'll be living dream. Yeah. And on that note, we'll see you next time we see you. See you in a bit.
Yeah.